Everyone on the planet is dealing with those two questions. Who am I? And more importantly, why am I here?
Gosh, those two questions have really stuck with me over the last several days. Who am I and what am I here for? To be honest, those two questions are part of why I love working with college students so much, because I think, like Louis said in his talk, everyone on the planet is asking those two questions. I think, at least in my own experience, when I was a college student, those were the questions I was asking. And over the last decade or so of working with college students, that's exactly what you all are asking. Who am I? Who do I want to be? And what am I here for? What's my purpose? What am I going to do with my life? And I loved what Louis did in his talk when he said, our culture has an answer for those questions. Our culture wants to tell us who we are, whether it says culture defines who we are or we ourselves get to define who we are. But he also challenged that notion and said, do we want to look to the culture to find out who we are and what our purpose is? Or do we want to see ourselves inside of God's story? Do we want to look to God to find out who we are, to look to God to find out what our purpose is, what we're to do with our lives? What about you? I mean, as you've reflected over the last several days, how would you answer those questions? If you just honestly thought about it, maybe even wrote it down or just in some quiet moments, how do you answer those questions? What are you looking to define who you are? Where do you get your identity? Is it from what culture encourages you to find your identity? Or is it from God? How are you finding purpose? What are you thinking about in terms of what the purpose of your life is? What your plan, what you're to do with your life? Is it what culture tells you that you should do? Or is it what God tells you to do? See, I think the big takeaway from Louis' talk is that you and I, we're being invited into something bigger, invited into something better. God's story, not culture's story, not even my story. We're invited into a bigger story, a better story, God's story. I'm really excited because I think this semester at Veritas, we're going to talk a lot about that bigger, better story. We're going to talk a lot about who we are and what our purpose is. And in some ways, our first series, a series that we're calling Different, answers those two questions. Who am I? What should I do with my life? What's my purpose? And I think you'll see that we think that the Bible's answer to those questions is that we should look different. We're different than culture. Our purpose is different than what culture says. I really hope you'll join us. I'm really excited. I can't wait to be back together with you guys soon. Talk to you soon.